This is a breaking news alert. The Democratic candidate for the Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin that was vacant, Judge Susan Crawford, is now projected to win the major Wisconsin Supreme Court election. She is defeating the MAGA Doge candidate, Brad Schimel. A huge victory for the Democrat-aligned Judge Susan Crawford. This election has massive implications. You will recall Elon Musk poured tens of millions of dollars with the MAGA Republicans and other oligarchs to try to get the MAGA Republican Doge candidate Brad Schimel elected. Elon Musk said that this election would determine the fate of civilization. Elon Musk was in Green Bay this past weekend. This is a massive repudiation of Doge, of MAGA, of Donald Trump. Judge Susan Crawford, the Democratic aligned candidate for this Supreme Court seat, will go on to win that race. Democrats will go on to take the majority in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. There will be a number of cases before the Supreme Court involving the MAGA Republicans gerrymandering and all of the chicanery that they engaged in, with the law finally being followed. This has major implications for future congressional races. For example, MAGA Republican Congress members like Derek Van Orden and Brian Steele both said that they will lose their congressional seats if Judge Susan Crawford wins the Wisconsin Supreme Court race because of the redistricting that they expect to take place. Quote, "We will both lose now," he said, quote, "so that's why everyone is paying attention to this race on a national level." Our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, posted the following after it was predicted that Judge Susan Crawford, the Democratic-aligned candidate, would go on to win this major Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Filipkowski wrote, "Trump went all in. Musk went all in. Musk said Western civilization would end if Judge Susan Crawford won. Musk bought votes. Scott Pressler, MAGA's Get Out the Vote guy, set up shop in Wisconsin and went all in. Charlie Kirk and the whole MAGA Doge gang and all the right-wing podcasters went all in. The entire MAGA machine went all in. Donald Trump went all in. Trump spoke from the Oval Office and told people to vote for Brad Schimel just the other day. $53 million were spent to try to prop up the MAGA Doge candidate, Brad Schimel, including PAC money. But Judge Susan Crawford will win this Supreme Court seat easily, and she was far outperforming Vice President Kamala Harris in all of the important counties as we saw them coming in. We saw Madison come in. We saw Waukesha come in. We saw Dane County come in, and it was becoming very clear that this evening would be a great one for Judge Susan Crawford, who ran an incredible race. You'll recall images like this of Elon Musk, $1 million checks to individuals that were part of his, he will pay you if you register to vote scheme. That when I spoke to the Wisconsin Democratic chair, Ben Winkler, he said that that was likely completely unlawful. You see here the headline from the Associated Press: Musk announces $1 million for Wisconsin voter in Supreme Court race. Opposition calls it corrupt. Just to remind you who Brad Schimel, the MAGA Doge candidate, is, he dressed up as Donald Trump for Halloween. He would wear shirts like this at Trump boat parades. Jesus is my savior. Trump is my president. Here's a video of Brad Schimel talking about how Donald Trump called him and knows about the race. Here, play this clip.
Him adding his voice to this will help me to get my message out to voters of Wisconsin about restoring objectivity to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And that is the plain, clear message. I know there's a lot of questions about this or that. In the end, that is the bottom line. Courts go back to administering the law, not politics.
What did you offer to him in return?
Absolutely not.
Now, this was Elon Musk over the weekend in Green Bay, where he was handing out $1 million checks and other checks to people if they would vote or register to vote or took photos of themselves near voting locations. Here he said that it will be an end of civilization, a humanity-ending event, he says, if Brad Schimel lost and Judge Crawford wins. Here, play this clip.
It's just how important it is. They think it's just, some kind of judicial thing that's not that important. But it actually, what they're doing, what's happening on Tuesday is a vote for which party controls the U.S. House of Representatives. That is why it is so significant. And whichever party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization. So it's like, I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will. No pressure. Yeah.
Here was Donald Trump just this past week. Donald Trump from the Oval Office. I think Kid Rock was by his side as well, telling people to vote for Brad Schimel from the Oval Office. You don't get much more corrupt than that. Play this clip. What's your message to the people of Wisconsin, though, who, don't know? I mean, some people are like, wait a minute, Supreme Court races, people run for this seat. A lot of people don't even know like that. I know a lot of people in Wisconsin are paying attention when it happens in your state. They start to pay attention often closer. And I know that people are starting to vote already. So what do you say to them?
Listen to what he says, listen to his words. And he's talked about begging on his knees for campaign contributions, wearing out his knee pads. He's saying that he wants to be on the court to be part of Donald Trump's support network. You just got to listen to what the guy says. He wants to be on the court to push a partisan agenda. He wants to be there to support Elon Musk and to support Donald Trump and Doge. And that's really not what the court's for. And I've said over and over, I want to be on the court to protect the people of Wisconsin under our Constitution and laws. Brad Schimel's got a whole different agenda.
But folks, as I mentioned, the pro-democracy law and order judge, Judge Susan Crawford, will go on to win. I had the opportunity to speak to Judge Crawford. We had her on the MeidasTouch podcast multiple times. She was an incredible guest. Let me share with you just one of those clips from the interview that I had recently with Judge Susan Crawford. Here, play this clip.
Well, it's a big race, Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. It's taking place essentially as it was early voting, so we'll see what happens. It's a big race. I love Wisconsin. We won Wisconsin. Republicans typically don't do very well in Wisconsin, but I did. I actually won it twice. I actually probably won it 3 times, to be exact.
We played their side.
Not probably. I won it 3 times. We had a rigged election the second time, but that's, one of those things. We had to make this one too big to rig. Would you agree with that, Brian?
Yes,
too big to rig?
Yes, sir.
So anyway, but there's a big race, and I hope you get out and vote for the Republican. The woman is a radical left lunatic.
Now, there were other races as well in Florida. Florida special elections there. The Democratic candidates did not win. However, they closed the gap on plus 30 Trump districts and made these races very, very close. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, explains, Mike Walz won the Florida 6th congressional district seat 6 months ago by 33 points. Trump won this district by 30 points, and this was within about a 10-point race, closing the gap by about 20 points. Of course, unfortunate that the Democrats and the pro-democracy candidates lost, but picking up and closing the ground by 20 points is not an awful result. You take a look at what went down in Florida's 1st congressional district, where Matt Gaetz had previously beat Gay Vallimont 6 months ago by 32 points. Jimmy Petronas only won by about 14 or so points, and Valamont actually flipped an area that had, I don't think had ever gone Democratic since 1960? Escambia County since 1960. So Democrats were making up ground there. Those were very, very tough seats. But the big news of the night, that Wisconsin race, the right-wing podcast bros, the right-wing MAGA machine went all in on that. The MAGA Republican Congress members, the MAGA Republican machine, Donald Trump getting humiliated in Wisconsin this evening. A great result for democracy, folks. Thank you for watching. Thanks for getting the word out as well. And thank you to Judge Susan Crawford for coming on the show and sharing with us how important this race was. Everybody hit subscribe here. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.